with 71% of the earth covered with the ocean and 95% of that water unexplored. There is no telling that the maritime industry in Nigeria is thriving. His Royal Majesty Chijioke Egwago Collins, Chief Executive Officer of Multi-Trade Limited, examines Nigeria's maritime industry and the laws governing her international trade.
There is a law, a United Nations law, enacted in 1970, called the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. This was a law articulated by the United Nations to ensure that nations that generate tonnage in their import and export business all over the world are protected. It gave a ratio, a fair ratio of tonnage rights of 40% to the import-generating nation, 40% to the export-generating nation, and 20% for third parties. What this simply means, in terms of Nigeria's fair share in international trade, looking at 2 years, 2011 and 2010, what has Nigeria done in terms of tonnage? The data I presented before him was a publication by the NPA Managing Director of March 7th, 2012. Guardian, page 39. In that publication, I quickly brought to his knowledge that Nigeria in 2011, we had an import tonnage of about 122 million tons. By UNCTAD code, our fair share, 40 plus 10%, say 50% of that trade belongs to Nigeria by fair share, by law. Now, what shipping traffic was recorded in 2011? The shipping traffic recorded in 2011 was 5,327 ships brought these cargoes for Nigeria from all over the world. They earn freight 100% instead of leaving a fair share of 50% for Nigeria. They earn freight of about $6.2 billion against 122 million tons gross that was imported. Now, that was for 2011. 2010, the total import was 108 million tons of cargo. The foreign ships, about 4,982 ships brought in the cargoes here. That was the sea traffic. So I was asking the chairman on Marine, I said, this is what we should be concerned about. Because if we can articulate our positions and take our fair share as guaranteed by the UNCTAD code, it means we have lost revenue of 2011, we lost about $3 billion something dollars. 2010, we lost about almost $3 billion. So we have lost about $6 billion. So why should we be worried about $200 million that cabotage can give to us in the first place? And ignore the international trade where Nigeria is actively involved, because you know that our industries are not working. So this tonnage, if you look at what we did in 2010, we did 108 million tons. In 2011, we did 122. Meaning in 2012, we are going to surpass 122 million tons. So it's on a progressive scale.
In what happened to be an intense discussion, the business tycoon proffered a long-lasting panacea that will tremendously improve the industry, creating more jobs and ameliorating poverty in the land.
What I am saying, which I've said severally, the UNCTAD code is a United Nations law put in place by the United Nations to ensure equity, fair play in trade. It doesn't make sense that you are using tons of billions of dollars to buy goods worth 120 million tons, for instance, and you are deprived of the right of carriage. You earn zero. So the United States saw this, that it could be a problem in trade. They say, let us recognize the rights of nations. If you generate tonnage, you should have a minimum right of 40% of that cargo by law. So all I'm saying is, let us exercise our rights by law over the tonnage that we generate on our import trade and export trade. If we do this, we'll have a cash call within the next, if we start it to implement this in the month of August, for instance. It's not a long-term project. It's just will of government. I have requested that we have a meeting where the finance people can sit down for us to take them through this exercise. This month of July, letters of credits have been opened by the Central Bank of Nigeria for imports for the month of July. These letters of credit contain 100% cash components of the goods we are buying, the insurance to ensure that these goods get here safely, and also the transport cost, carriage of these goods from wherever we have bought them to Nigeria. These LCs we have opened for July are 100% cash backed. Some of these nations, turnaround period of shipment may take them 60 days, 90 days before the goods finally arrive here. So they have held this money for 90 days before you eventually get the goods. So, but we are saying, no. If we want to take hold of our tonnage, let us do what nations like some nations are doing. India, Iran. So that you can control your tonnage. From the month of August now, if we open those LCs, we will have paid you for the goods. But where is the money of the freight and this thing? We have it in Central Bank. So it has not left us. That money can act as guarantee. It doesn't need to leave our coffers. That same money can become seed money for the Maritime Bank. Then if we now want to make it a regional bank or want to invite other third parties, it should be at our terms. Because the bulk of the business happening in Africa or in West Africa, if it's 100%, Nigeria is playing about almost 70%. So we should take the lead, set the pace. So when we are inviting our other brothers and sisters to come in and join our Maritime Bank or regional bank or whatever we choose to call it later, you understand? They will recognize our position. That's the point I want to make.
Thank you very much, sir.